report. Two of my very good friends running against each other, which is the way it always goes. Appellate Court Justice Cynthia Cobb here. Appellate Court Justice Jesse Reyes. They will be here and you can touch base with them. Congressman Brad Schneider has come up here to thank Daniel for his service and to welcome Cam Davis and Jennifer Von Gershowitz to our ranks as elected officials. And his schedule has him going. So I'm going to just ask the congressman to come and say a couple, there he is right here, a couple words, and then we'll get back to intermingling.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. First, let me start with the easy remarks. Cam, Jennifer, congratulations on your electoral success. Congratulations on taking office. And thank you. We are so grateful to have you there. Personally, I look forward to working together for years to come. But on behalf of our state and our community, I'm grateful you're there. I know you guys will do a great job. That was the easy part. The hard part is to say, not goodbye, Daniel, but thank you for your service. You and I became very close friends during the course of our work together. And I think back to many conversations, many times when I was looking for wise counsel and found it with you. And I think many of us here can say the same thing, that you are someone for deep thought, profound understanding, and great insight. And that is going to be terribly missed as you move on to your next chapter. But it's going to be widely shared as you move to Rust Belt Rising. And I know we talk about it all the time. If we're going to get our nation to where it needs to be, it's going to be because of elected officials at all levels of government. And we have, as Democrats, I think, oftentimes around the country not paid enough attention to the down ballot positions that make a difference, in many cases, a greater significant difference in our day-to-day lives than any other federal elected official. And what you're going to be doing, helping these people communicate, develop, and ultimately rise up, especially in the Rust Belt, I have no doubt it's going to make a difference. So I wish you only great things. I know you will do great things. I personally am going to miss working with you at the level we have, but looking forward to working with you at new levels. And on behalf of all of us, and others will say it again, thank you for all you've done and all you will continue to do. Thank you.
Assignments this congressman now has is he's a member of the Ways and Means Committee. Which is, we have not had anyone from Illinois with any progressive ideas on that important committee in a long time. So congratulations. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Danny. I keep forgetting it. He keeps retiring and then running again. So I want to thank you. Our food today is catered by Kurt's Cafe. Many of you know it's a great not-for-profit with 2 locations here in Evanston, working with young people, business, and to be able to get jobs afterwards. We finally have the cups here, so I encourage you to go over there. You'll hear from Laura and Kelly and others shortly as more people come in, but I wanted to get Brad before he left. We'll call you back in a little while. And Daniel and Cam and Jennifer will all be kind of in this area. We're going to try and get as many photos with you, and we'll try and get you copies of photos. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. I want to first just say to all the elected officials, to Laura for the incredibly generous introduction, for Larry for putting all of this together. We didn't have to. It was really kind. It was very generous. Thank you for doing that. It's been an unbelievable joy to work with you. But what I want to just do for a second, you know, Mary Claire, I don't know if you're still here, was just talking about, Mary Claire has been helping me run for office since the spring of 2007.
Leslie Pollack is here. She was an intern in the summer of 2007 in my first campaign. And it's hard to articulate this. As an elected official and as a candidate, you get so much from so many people. You take and you take and you take and you take. And there are so many people here who have been so kind and so generous, who have given so much, who have thrown so much of themselves into being a part of our campaigns, a part of my self-education to be a better member of the legislature, a part of my circle of friends, and eventually a part of our family. I wish I had words to say how appreciative I am. I wish I had words to say how much it means to me, all that you have done, all of these many years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say a few very special thank yous, especially to Karen and Theodore and Aria. Anytime in life you encounter someone who is the partner in life of a candidate for office, you should spend some time thanking them. You should spend some time. It's hard and it's lonely. That's the truth. It's lonely and difficult, and again, I don't have words to say it to the extent that I feel it, but I love you so much, and I thank you so much for this journey we've been on together, where you got the short end of the stick a lot of the time, Karen. But it's been a journey together, and it wouldn't have meant anything if it weren't that journey together. Thank you. To raise 2 kids in the legislature is a privilege. Again, I wasn't there as much as I wanted to be, and I have to tell you that the last few months have been well, anyway, it's really nice to see my kids more. I'll leave it at that. But to raise 2 kids in the legislature and to have them be a part of that process and to learn from them and with them, it's been an incredible thing. And I want to say a special word to Aria, who's been put in the public eye in the midst of a journey that is hard without any public scrutiny. Your strength and your courage and your sense of self has been such a source of inspiration to me. It's been such an education for me. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I've had the most unbelievable, preposterous collection of talents on my staff for these last years. It is just implausible. For the people who've worked in district office, Allie, who didn't really work in the district office so much as created it and made it and built it, built our philosophy of public service, built our philosophy of public engagement. I mean, in a very real sense, I was a co-legislator with you for those first few years. Thank you for being the better half of that partnership as well. Thank you, John Amdor. Thank you to your cousin, Chewy, who's now in Omaha supporting his spouse as an elected official there. Thank you to Josh Browdy. Thank you to the incredible people I have working with me in Springfield, Judy and Matt and Audrey, and then to the campaign team. You know, I'm looking at Senator Peters here. And I think about all that you guys did and built and established against such odds with so few resources, and the joy of it and the passion and the fun and the skill and the technical capacity. I don't think there's anybody I've worked with or spent time with in my life who I've learned more from than Abby Witt, who put together something just unbelievable over the course of a year. Who put together something that was a home for a lot of people who didn't just work there but volunteered and felt that they were part of a campaign family. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for Thank you for how you carried yourself and how you carried yourself in a way that was not just consistent with but rooted in the values that made the campaign worth being a part of in the first place. That was something that not dozens but thousands of people came to participate in and enjoy and build together. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say one thing. You know, I've been in the legislature, I was in the legislature for 8 years. And I think when people sort of try to look back on that time, I think some people might have trouble sort of drawing the through line. What was the common thread in the time that I spent there and the work that I did? And I think it's really one thing. I think it's really one thing, which is that I worked on stuff that other people thought was hopeless. I worked on the projects that other people had given up for dead. If this was the thing that the lobbyists sort of rolled their eyes at when you left the room, I was probably the one in the room when they weren't rolling their eyes yet because they weren't supposed to, because this thing up. If it was the thing that the other members of the legislature might have been like, oh, why is he making us worry about this thing now? I was probably the one in that room. If it was a thing that Mike Madigan was going to make people know that's never going to get called for a vote, there was a chance that I was the one pushing for it to get called. And that's the legacy that I hope that I've left. Because we have a system with extremely profound problems in it. And we have a system whose problems persist when we accept the messages we're given about what are allowable and not allowable steps you can take to fix the problems. We have a political and economic system right now that are designed to take wealth and push it up, and to take already far too concentrated power and concentrate it yet more. And you might ask yourself, why does that system persist? Is it persist because we don't know what to do about it? We can't think of solutions? No! Does it persist because the solutions aren't popular? No. It persists because we operate in a political system that has given us certain assumptions about what we may or may not do, what's considered mainstream and what's not, what's an allowable thing to try, and what gets you laughed out of the room if you dare to admit that it's what you actually believe in. And the one thing I would say to people in this room, whether it's people still serving in elected office or anybody else, the one piece, if I could be so bold as to offer advice in this moment you all have given me the floor, it's this. Know your power. Know your power. And then go and exercise it. That power that is rooted not in a title, but rather that is rooted in what the public working together, building movements together, is prepared to demand together. The power that allows us to say when someone suggests a 70% tax rate on people earning more than $10 million a year, yes, we understand that's the right thing to do, even if we're supposed to get laughed out of the room for proposing it. The power that allows us to say, yes, it might be the case that there are people who are dying to burn another couple generations of fossil fuels, but no, we want our planet to be livable in the next generation. The power that says, yes, there may be an insurance executive who's benefiting from the system being maintained as it is, but we have the strength to come together as communities and fight for a different system. Know that power that lies in all of us, and know that the status quo that is breaking us only persists when we willingly relinquish that power, when we don't have the courage to stand up, knowing what we believe in, knowing who stands with us, and fight for that power. That vision of people coming together in movements not based on what we were told was possible last year, but what we know has to be possible next year, that's the vision that pulled me out of the classroom and onto the street. The vision that pulled me off the street into the Capitol building. That's the vision that I'm going to keep fighting for every single day that I'm on this earth. It is such an honor to fight for that vision with all of you. Thank you. I love you.
told that the president of the Illinois Senate just arrived, my good friend John Pellerton. John, are you back there? There he is. I'm told that he's mad at me because I seem to have invited his wife today, but I didn't invite John. Glad you got here, John. I'm inviting him back. And I want to recognize former Senator Jeff Schoenberg. One of our hosts for today, who is both the 9th CD's Democratic Committee woman and former Senator Carol Ronan, who I saw somewhere over there. Cook County Board of Review Commissioner Mike Caponargi. Also, our Democratic committeeman for the 9th CD. In Evanston, we're very lucky to have 3 members of the Illinois General Assembly House. 3 strong women. We have Kelly Cassidy representing the south end of Evanston. We have Robin Gable representing the middle of Evanston. And, well, Senator Heather Staines, another one of our hosts. Sorry. We had Laura Fine representing the north end of Evanston, but now we have a new member. And it's my privilege to introduce Kelly Cassidy, to introduce her fellow colleague in the Illinois House. Kelly.
During the campaign, Daniel always used to tease me about following me, so now I'm following him, and that's just not fair. But, you know, this job is weird. Most of us work in jobs where people come and go, but you might, you know, it's for different reasons. Here, people come and go because they run for other offices, or they lose, or they move on in other ways. But we're like a family. We live together for months at a time. We share meals, we share frustrations, we share victories, we share confusion a lot. But that means that every 2 years, you kind of have to process some change. I'm processing one of my very best friends in the General Assembly, and someone that was referred to as an important part of your in-building wellness plan, Daniel Biss. We shared a lot of meals where we would process those moments of being the one in the room where people rolled their eyes during our time together. I'm processing losing Laura from sitting behind me, who's now going to be across the building. And I'm processing getting a new seatmate and a new sister. And I'm so excited to get to work with Jen and to help you figure out the fact that lunch isn't coming. It's always my favorite freshman question. When's lunch? We are, as Larry said, we are really lucky. We have such an amazing team up here, and it's really such a blessing to get to be part of it, in particular because it really is a crew of seriously badass women. And it's a lot of fun. All of these badasses, and we've added one to the crew. So Jen Von Gershowitz, welcome to the family. Let's have some fun.
Wow. So I now have the enviable and unenviable position to follow that team that I am incredibly proud and honored to now call my colleagues in the General Assembly. As most of the people in this room know, Laura Fine has been a friend and a mentor to me for many, many years. And it is with just tremendous gratitude that I follow in the footsteps of my dear friend Laura Fine and my friend Daniel Biss. You know, for people who are unfamiliar with our area, a lot of people looking at our progressive coalition now are surprised to learn that the 17th district was not always Democratic, much less progressive. And one of the things that I am so thankful for from my friends, Senator Daniel Biss and Laura Fine, is that they have paved the way. They have shown that progressive leadership is here to stay in the 17th district. Daniel, thank you for that. Laura, thank you for that. I actually met Daniel for the very first time when he knocked on my door. When I was a young mom, I think we just moved into the district, and I had what I thought were some really tough questions on education. And why is it that, we were talking in Glenview about a referendum to fund our public schools, and how were residents who are at the lower end of the income levels in Glenview, or we have a 30% low-income population, going to afford to stay in our district if we kept going to homeowners to fund our public schools? And couldn't we find a more equitable way? And I thought, wow, I just asked him a really tough question. I bet he's not going to have. And we sat out there until the sun went down. And he had patience and answered my questions with a thoroughness and a thoughtfulness that I've just come to expect, and that I hope I can continue to rely on as I enter this brave new journey to Springfield. You have been tremendously generous with your time, and I am so honored to be following in the footsteps that you have literally carved the way for now the only immigration lawyer in the General Assembly. I am always mindful of the fact that I am one of a small handful of Asian Americans to serve in the General Assembly, the only immigration lawyer in the General Assembly at a time when our country is literally being held hostage by the very question of whether or not our country is going to remain one of bridge builders or walls. And I am so incredibly proud that my colleagues in this area, we are bridge builders, not walls. So we are going to be doing, I think, some bold, progressive things this year. And I know that all of you are going to be part of that journey with us. So thank you for all you have done to help us get here. My friends, my family, my volunteers, our collective political family, my friends in the General Assembly, and thank you for all you're going to do to make sure that we can continue to fight for the progressive values that we know this community expects. So thank you. And I look forward to working with you and for the road ahead. Thanks a lot.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that in one of the other governments that we have, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, whose land we are standing on right now, they own both sides of the canal, but we lease it from them, so you're in a city of Evanston building, had no representation from the northern suburbs. And then we elected Deborah Shore. On this board, and now we have 1/3 of them living in the northern suburbs with Cam Davis. I'm going to ask his two colleagues to come on up and introduce Cam to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deborah Shore. I want to tell you a little story you may not know. When I first was considering running for the Water Reclamation District 14 years ago in 2005, I had heard that there were a couple of other people from the conservation community who were also interested. And I knew that I wanted to be the lone conservation candidate because it was going to be a very difficult race. And I went and met with Cam Davis, who was then leading the Lake Michigan Federation that became the Alliance for the Great Lakes. We knew each other for, 20 years or more, worked in the conservation arena, and I said to Cam, I'm thinking of running, and he said, well, I am too, And he said, how much money do you think it'll take? Maybe $30,000? I said, no, $300,000. So Cam said, you go. But I can't tell you, I couldn't be prouder and more gratified to now have Cam as a colleague on our board. We did something remarkable, because the pros that I know in election law, when there became this opportunity for a write-in candidate, they said, not going to happen. Anyone to be successful needed a minimum of 8,075 votes, and the pros said, not going to happen. Almost 98% of people who voted have never done a write-in, including me at that time. People are afraid it will spoil their ballot. They just didn't see how we could do it. And instead, you made Illinois history by delivering more write-in votes for Cam Davis than any other candidate, including Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Thank you, because now with Josina and Cam, we have the makings of a conservation caucus, a progressive caucus, a let's go get the work done caucus, and that speaks to your values and your energy and your work, so thank you so much.
I know we're here to do three things. One is to say thank you to Daniel and welcome to Jen and Cam. So real quick, I just want to say to Daniel, thank you for everything that you've done. He has been an unsung hero to the Asian American community. When he helped me make history as the first Asian American elected countywide, but there are three other ways that people may not know that he's been an unsung hero. First, he helped us pass the first Asian American state bill and helped us form an Asian American caucus before we had any Asian Americans to begin with. He was critical in supporting me, but especially also Teresa Ma and Jennifer in the General Assembly. So he helped get two of our new Asian American electeds into office. And three, which is probably the one that he may not even think about, is there was an Asian American who was running as a Republican. And he made sure that our first Asian American in the General Assembly was not a Republican. I'm so excited for Jen and to Cam and to really to Evanston being such a core home of sending such progressive water advocates to the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Thank you for Deborah Shore. God bless her for being the first one there as a true conservationist and environmentalist. I wouldn't have run. And now Cam Davis, for those of you who participated in Cam's campaign, you know it was the most bizarre campaign you have probably ever participated in. And it really was so many of you in the room and Evanston and people who really understand how important MWRD is, who understand how important our water is, who understand how important elections are, to send us somebody like Cam Davis. God forbid, for the first time now, we have a water policy expert on the water reclamation. It only took 135 years. But we're so excited to have this new alliance of progressive folks who really care about water, who worked on water before they came on the board, not just introduced themselves to water afterwards. I couldn't be more excited to have Cam on the board, to have been an ally even just over the last month to just talk about water, for God's sake. So we're so excited to have Cam on the board. Cam Davis.
Thank you, Josina, and thank you, Deborah, for the very kind words, and I couldn't be prouder to be colleagues of both of you. I want to thank my family who's here. My wife is somewhere in the room, I think, and Caitlin, wherever you are, my son Sage, my daughter Rio, my mom Sally, all here. Really want to thank the organizers of today. We all have a lot of stuff we need to do in our lives, and putting an event like this together to just say thank you and just to celebrate is a huge deal. our committeemen in the room who often go unnoticed, folks like Dean Maragos and Eamon Kelly and Carol Ronan and so many others who do a ton of work to just provide candidates a solid footing so that they can even consider running, is a huge job. And I want to thank all of you who are committeemen here in the room for everything that you are doing as well. Thanks to you. When you consider running for office, this is a relatively real and recent experience for me. You first think of all the reasons why it will never happen. All of the things that will stand in your way. And certainly I experienced that with the write-in race that we had, and then an attempt to pass a measure on the board that would have sided with one person and not with voters. And then a lawsuit, and then the election, and then the list goes on and on. So believe me, there are a lot of things that can get in the way. You know why we won? It's because of you. You guys did this. You did this. Thanks a lot. Seriously though, thank you. This is really mostly in my mind to honor Daniel. And the first time I met Daniel, we had, I may get some of the facts wrong here, we had breakfast at the original House of Pancakes, which we all call OHOP in our family. We had breakfast, and I left the breakfast feeling very guilty. The upshot was, Daniel says to Cam, "Can you help me? I'm thinking about running for Senate." Cam saying, "I'm sorry, I am helping somebody else run for office and it's sucking up all the time I can get." Us saying goodbye and I'm leaving and heading out the door, and Daniel says, "Well, so who are you helping to run?" "Oh, well, he'll probably never win. I'm helping a guy named Barack Obama run for president." So yes, we can. So Daniel, none of us are here, exclusively for the person. We are here because of the ideals that are represented in the people in this room. And so the values that you have held and fought for your entire life, I want you to look around as we close out and understand they are reflected in and they are represented in every single one of us standing here in this room, who are going to continue to say, yes, we can, who are going to continue to fight for, and let's just, I think about this a lot. What does progressive mean? We all say progressive, but what does it mean? It means progress. It means progress on the environment so that all our kids can grow up healthy. It means progress on education so that all our kids have a fair and open right to a quality education. It means healthcare, progress on healthcare, so that we can all grow up with the kinds of care that we need so that we can do what needs to be done in this world. That's progress. That's what it means to be a progressive. I'll never apologize for that. And I know my colleagues on the board, Deborah and Josina, will never apologize for that. None of you. You will never apologize. Thank you for shining a light down the road and reminding us as to what it means to stand for progress.
Three short speeches, and then we'll go back to mingling. I'd like to ask President Cullerton and Senator Staines to come up as people who have been colleagues of Daniel his entire term in the Senate to just say a couple of words. How Evanston in the Illinois House has 3 members. We have 2 senators, Laura and... Yeah, you're next. He's the 3rd speaker, so 1, 2.
I just want to say I'm so going to miss Daniel. It was such a joy getting to work with him in the Senate. I love Laura, I absolutely do, but I'm so going to miss Daniel. He always, if Daniel was speaking on the floor, people got quiet, they listened, they knew it was going to be something of value. that would really potentially change your mind. People don't often change their mind actually by speeches on the floor. Daniel makes people think, always, and does it in a very relatable way. As somebody who just is not replicable, we won't be able to replace you, we really won't. We have somebody else who's going to do a fabulous job in a different way. You're one of a kind, Daniel, you just are. I can't wait to see what you do next.
I just wanted to come and wish Daniel the best and thank him for his service in the Senate. I found out very early when I first met him that he's smarter than I am. To my credit, give me some credit for knowing that immediately. But I did learn that not only is he a policy wonk, but he's also very good at politics. And I can tell you there was a particular bill that I never thought he was ever going to pass, and he outmaneuvered a bunch of lobbyists who were against it, and he did it and got it into law. So he just is really a fantastic, and he has the courage to run for office, for governor. When he wasn't in the middle of his 4-year term, I said, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah, sure. I want to be the governor. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to leave the General Assembly." The only positive thing of his leaving is that we are now, our caucus is now up to 45% of our caucus is made up of women. And I really like the fact that Laura has come over from the House, because the people who come from the House, like Daniel, they really like the Senate. I don't know why. Senator Robert. So Robert, the new senator, who I understand was announced, I was kind of hoping that you would have been a woman because we were trying to get to 50%. But as I understand it, 2 women voted for you and put you into office. So maybe the women are even more progressive than we thought. So I just want to thank you for inviting my wife to tell me about this event.
I want to thank Michelle Jordan from my staff who helped coordinate put this all together. Cafe, our caterer, and encourage you to do things with Kurt's Cafe. Now we're gonna end on a serious note. The federal shutdown has affected a lot of people. As an Air Force veteran, I know that the military is being paid, but I didn't realize until my good friend Mike Cabanargi pointed out that the Coast Guard station at Wilmette is not being paid. And there are a number of 19 and 20-year-olds, many with families, who are really stuck. I was in San Francisco earlier this week, and they were doing food drives for the Coast Guard, more people in the Coast Guard that were stationed out there. So Mike is going to talk about an effort we're going to try to do to help those Coast Guard enlisted personnel that are at the Wilmette station. Mike.
Thanks. I'll recognize one more person, Alexandra Eidenberg, who is here. She's running for Oakton Community College Board. Alexandra's still here. Thank you. And also, thank you again, Daniel, for everything you've done. Unlike Bruce Brown, who's in New Zealand, you're still staying there. And we appreciate that. Like Larry, you can go to New Zealand if you want. Like Larry mentioned, the Coast Guard station at Wilmette. They have 25 active duty members that are there right now. 4 have newborns, 6 have infants and young people under the age of 2 years old. They haven't been paid in 30 days. I've talked to the commanding officer out there. They need our help. I'll be as simple as that. They don't know when they're going to get paid again. If they don't get paid on the 30th, there'll have been 2 paychecks in a row that they've missed. We need to step up and help them. There's a fundraising effort going on through the Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. Right now, you can find out more about it if you just go to my Facebook page or to Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. I've got a link on my page. Briefly, if you want to help them, they have ethics rules, as we're all familiar with. They can take a direct contribution of goods or money up to $25. After that, it needs to go through Coast Guard Mutual Assistance or through the USO. We've got a way to be that intermediary, so if you want to get in touch with me through Facebook, I can direct you there as well. For example, we've raised $1,000 already, so we got $25 $50 Safeway gift cards to them. They need gas cards. I mean, to be really honest, when I asked the XO what do you need, he goes, gas cards. If they can't get to the station, they're marked up as AWOL. So believe it or not, they're not. They're working for free until they run out of money, and then they get marked as AWOL. So we don't know how this is going to end. 2 years ago today, Donald Trump was sworn in. He swore an oath to preserve and defend the Constitution. Now the government shut down. So locally, though, if their service station goes from Navy Pier up to Highland Park, they're the only ones with boats in the water right now. Okay, if you've ever been to the beach or the lakefront at Lake Michigan, then you know they're our first responders and we need to help them. So again, encourage you to go online and give. If you want to give them something directly as well, the XO said that last week somebody was sending over anonymously pizzas every night for dinner. He said that kind of beats the $25 thing, but they don't know who did it since it was anonymous. So please, any way you can help out. Yes?
On Coast Guard Mutual Assistance, can you designate this particular
Yes,
location?
great question. So on Coast Guard Mutual Assistance, if you give on the Facebook page I set up, that's a direct account for, it's Coast Guard Station-Wilmette. Same with the USO. If you want to reach out to the USO, there's an office downtown and one at O'Hare, and there's information on the Facebook page for that as well. And I'm sorry, New Trier's Food Bank. Gail, you want to tell us a little bit about the food bank that's doing this time?
Hi, I'm Gail Eisenberg. I'm a New Trier Township trustee, and at New Trier Township, we're proud to be serving those who are serving us. We've made it clear to the Wilmette Coast Guard members that they are welcome to come use our food pantry, and those who are residents to seek financial assistance to help them in this very hard time for them and their families.
Great.
Oh,
Great.
President of the New Trier Democrats. My committeeman, Dean Maribel, we're having a party next week for the volunteers at JP's in Wilmette. We're asking people to come to bring something for the food pantry, and we will deliver to the food pantry. So if you're planning on attending that event and telling other people that we would like you to bring something to that event.
Yeah, and the restaurant they're at is that famous Italian restaurant, J.P. McCarthy's. McCarthy's had a really foothold in Italy at one point. So I want to thank all of you, and now Daniel and Jennifer and Cam will be here. Thank you for coming. Have a great rest of the Sunday.